Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdown. Today, we are going to be filling out our ballot for the All-Star Game, looking at the starters in each league and all the positions. My name is Tyler. Joining me today, as always, my co-host Will, John, producer Bobby, and we are getting on this early this year. The
Baseball's biggest
Campaign
popularity
season has
contest. Here
begun.
we go.
the ballots just came out for the or the voting, I should say, just came out for baseball. And it's gonna, we're gonna get our votes in, maybe campaign for some people that deserve it. I think we did that last year, but a little too late. So we're getting on that early. We're staking our claim early.
You can't do the
We
campaign when the
learn
campaign's
from our
over.
mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. So again, we're gonna just go through this position by position. You should very soon see a screen that pops up that is gonna have the ballot up. Oh, there it is. Look at that timing. And yeah, we're gonna get through this. So let's start in the AL for the first baseman. Um, there, there's a couple guys up. I mean, I guess it depends how you sort this. Bobby has an A to Z right now, but there's a couple guys at the top. When you look at like average and home runs that are kind of consistent, OPS as well. So, Will, who do you have? Who do you like at first base? Maybe who's a sleeper? What are your thoughts on first base in the AL?
I mean, my thoughts at first base is that it's a two-man race at the moment. And I have a feeling I know which one's going to get the popular vote. But I think if I was picking, I would go with Jonathan Aranda. The main thing that would make me think not against him is that while his numbers beat Goldschmidt in each of the categories that you see on screen, not by much, but a slightly better average, home runs, RBIs, and OPS, Aranda's offense is big time from home. And when their ballpark this season is outside in that hot Tampa weather, you figured some balls are going to be jumping, and his homes away splits are he's batting 383 with 4 home runs and 22 RBIs on the road with a 1.030 OPS. Now, granted, I did these stats yesterday, so if they're out of date, tough. And his away stats are 236, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, 748 OPS. So I can see that if you were on the bubble, you might not be 100% wanting to give it to him just because of maybe it's too much of a factor of the home situations this season. But I want to campaign for the person that's not a Yankee because the Paul Goldschmidt's going to probably make it anyway. So let's give someone else other than, good old
Yeah, well,
old man Yankee there start.
keep in mind who the manager is for the American League this year. It is Aaron Boone. So I have a feeling Goldie's gonna be there regardless.
I don't
Um,
think the manager gets the same input that he used to, though. So
he still gets to pick.
I don't think that's necessarily true, and someone can search it now to back me up. But I thought that was last year. I was thinking that was the case, or I should say, a couple of years ago when Rob Thompson was the manager, and that did nothing because he didn't get the pick or the say that we thought.
You're making me look this up, and then you pass it to me. That's just absolutely fantastic.
John's looking
all
it
right.
up. So,
Well, if you're looking it up, I'm gonna stop looking it up. Sorry.
and now no one's looking it up.
I I went with Goldschmidt. Old man Goldie is having a career revitalizing year, which good for him. Plus, in all honesty, I've come to terms with it that it's just his year at the at to have first base at the All-Star game for the American League. In all honesty, plus the popular vote of him being a Yankee also helps. So that's why I filled out my ballot realistically of what.
Oh,
So yeah.
pick who you want. Don't listen to the people.
Oh,
Don't
I
think
did
about the people.
with two of my picks.
Yeah, we know the Orioles picks. But
Well,
anyway,
so
the one thing I have to say about Goldschmidt, because I saved it for the episode, his splits versus left-handers and right-handers is insane to me. I don't care if it doesn't matter in people's mindsets. He's batting 271 versus right-handers with 2 home runs and 20 RBIs, 655 OPS. So honestly, it's not great, but it's whatever. He's batting 520 versus lefties.
ouch.
pretty good.
So for a 323 average this season, 270 versus race, and then 520. with a 1.513 OPS, and that's in 62 of his 242 plate appearances. So what? That's about a quarter of his plate appearances have been versus lefties. So
Slacker.
Jesus Christ.
To answer your question, based on at least MLB glossary, it just says that they make decisions on batting order and starting pitching, but I don't think they have any say.
Okay, so
in the
that's
vote.
There's nothing that says that they're in the voting.
right. They used to, like 10 years ago, they used to have like they could get a certain number of picks on the team, it may only be like 3. But no, in recent years, I think they got rid of that rule. So yeah, they just choose the lineup and whoever the starting pitcher is.
Yeah, so I mean, outside of the two you guys said, what do you guys think about Torque, man? Because I know he's started to drop off a tad. I mean, the average is still low. He is leading American League first baseman in home runs right now. And he's got an 825 OPS. Like I think it's definitely going to be between those three. I guess like maybe Vladdy on like if the fans are really pushing for him, but I don't know. Torque, I think could
It's that
slide in there.
it's the average to me that really pulls him out of there. I mean, definitely for the home run derby, I could see him getting an invite for the reason you just mentioned of him leading first baseman in the American League for that. But it's his average that really just pulls him out of it for me. And in terms of Vladdy, yeah, he has the name, he has the star power. His average still isn't as good, even though he has more home runs than the two leaders. So that's why Vladdy is also out of it for me. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean
Vladdy
Torque.
last year had the really hot June that basically won
Yeah.
him the ballot. So he's got that shot again. But based
That
on
is
his
true.
stats
It is
alone,
also June 5th
he's-
as of
based
this
on his-
recording.
yeah, no. That's why we're doing it early, and then watch. Also,
No.
remember, being us as a podcast, we are very bad when it comes to timing. So if everyone that we put on this ballot is picked, they're gonna suck for June, and we're gonna pick a whole new ballot at the end of the month. Just remember,
It's the BLB curse.
Yeah.
We back you. We talk about you. You suck after we do.
Yeah, well, I was that's what I was thinking with Vladdy too. Is he really turned it on in June, and he hasn't quite been himself so far. As far as Torque, I mean, he had a nice start to the year. Was batting 241 in March and April, but he had those 8 home runs. He hit 6 home runs in May, average is 237. So like he's slightly dipped off a little bit. In his first 11 at bats in June, only 1 hit, but again, I understand the average is a little low, and you know, I guess looking at OPS and average, you do have guys above him in that those stats, which obviously are big stats with first base. But I think Torque could get some love, so I'm throwing him out there because I feel like he's had a very up and down time in Detroit, and then there was obviously the talks in the offseason he might get dealt, but the 14 home runs definitely impressive. On the National League side, not much of a discussion, I would say.
Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, the guy that just
Yep.
keeps doing it, man. He is impressive, and
I mean, Pete Alonso though has a really good average, and is leading the National League with 15 home runs as far as for first baseman.
yeah, again,
Shooting.
he'll get there in some capacity, probably the home run derby again, but even
He'll probably also be the
He'll be
second
a
string
backup
if
if-
Freeman.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Alonso's riding an insanely hot start to the season, and then has kind of been fizzled off to what a normal Pete Alonso has been since April. So, I mean, he is an all-star based on the stats, but Freeman's just, even when he was out for a little bit because of the foot stuff, he's still on another planet, hitting like 400 for the month of May or something.
all right, so who's our vote for the American League? By the way, is it Aranda or Goldschmidt?
I mean, I know what I would pick.
I
Bobby,
would
you're
pick.
the tiebreaker.
I mean, I would pick Aranda, but
Haha.
I don't know.
Bobby, you gonna fill this out?
John- Jonathan Aranda. So yeah, and then Freddie Freeman for the like I said, I don't think there's much discussion. He's just been
No, we need to give
So-
love to the very last person on that list now.
so good.
Anti-ballot.
All right, let's go to second baseman, which in the AL, holy shit. Okay.
All right, boys. Here, I'm gonna start us
Just
off.
let John cook.
I'm gonna start us off here. Young Mr. Jackson Holiday hasn't even hit his man strength yet, and he is batting 260 with 7 home runs, 26 RBIs, and a 736 OPS. That is going to go up. That OPS, one, because he is just raking and is just getting on base, and then also just the factor of his his ability, his eye at the plate, his ability to draw walks. Now he is figuring it out, boys, and he is going. He does, in my opinion, he deserves to be the second base representative in a weak American League. If this was a stronger year, probably not, because defensively he still has a long way to grow. But boy, is he improved leaps and bounds. He has the name. He has the star power at such a young age. This is the guy. This is the guy right here.
I was gonna say, like, to you were like, oh, like, because of this, the eye discipline. It's also like, look at the competition. Like, it's not great.
You could
Um,
blink and all those names could shift tomorrow.
like, so we were having this conversation, and I don't know, actually what the quote unquote protocol is for this, but like, Altuve also might be one of the better candidates, but like, how does that work with him? Because he's like not really a second baseman, but he is. Is he getting more run there? Because to me, as much as I hate it every year, I still think he's probably the best on the board. Batting 264, 9 home runs, 719 OPS. Like, to me, I think he'd be my pick, but does he qualify is the question. Like, I
I
don't know how
don't
that
think that
works.
to me, he doesn't, but I'm
The fact
also,
that he's on the ballot, he qualifies.
yeah.
There's nothing that could void that at this. Like,
Just for the
correct.
record, Jackson Holiday does not walk as much as you think he does.
Yeah, he doesn't. Everything you were
Still
saying
gets
I
on
thought
base.
was baloney.
He's
Yeah, not at a
5%
great
walk
clip
rate and a
considering what his
23%
average
strike
is.
percentage. And while Gleyber
Oh, my
Torres is
God.
11% strikeouts and 14% walk percentage with a higher
Yeah, Gleyber
average.
Torres is absolutely killing it
Yeah.
from a walk rate standpoint. No, the
Yeah.
thing though for Holiday that I thought you would go off of, which I could see, is that he didn't have the greatest start to the season, but he had a strong May. So if he can ride what he was doing in May, then yeah, he could pick it up. But yeah,
Anything? I mean, where are
What's
you
his
going with
song?
this, Will? Because
I have Gleyber Torres. No, again, this is the type of thing where tomorrow I may change my mind because all these stats could go who knows where. But
You know where
I
I'm
mean,
going.
he's just been pretty solid all around for the Tigers in pretty much every category. And at least going into yesterday, he was batting 375 with runners in scoring position. So he was doing a pretty good job when it counts. And so being near the top of the order, like Bobby said, with the high walk rate and a somewhere probably in the 370s or 80s, because my stats don't match anymore. That's what you want from your leadoff guy. So until someone runs away with it later in the month, I'd give it to Torres now.
what's what I was gonna say? You'd like imagine that somebody steps up in this list. But I guess you never know. But yeah,
And
I
it
mean,
could be Holiday.
it could be. I think second base AL is, yeah, it's definitely the weakest. I was looking throughout the list, but it's second base AL right now is definitely the weakest. So we'll see happens there. On the NL side, some interesting candidates for sure. Ketel Marte, of course, podcast
Is there
favorite.
really any other choice?
I think
Yes, the person that was people that were actually healthy, you know?
I think there's a case for Brendan Donovan when you bat 317. I'd say that's pretty good. So
Yeah.
I also seen something like apparently like the Cardinals. It was like since 1985 they haven't had a second base representative or something, which is kind of funny to me because like I guess with how dominant their teams were for some years, I can't really think. I mean, obviously like Yachty was good, but like actual second baseman, I'm like I really can't think of who was there. But Donovan, regardless, is having a really good season.
Donovan's the one that I have as the starter for second base, but it's going to come down to probably what Marte does at the end of the month because, yeah, his numbers are through the roof right now. He was out, though, for like almost a month, I think, or whatever.
Got
with
11
an
home
injury,
runs
so-
and like 100 something.
Yeah, he's got
like,
right. So
appearances,
that's why
like-
his OPS is through the roof. So
Goodness.
and I mean, he's the type of guy that maybe not power wise, but average wise and RBI wise, he can definitely keep it up. So if he can stay on that trajectory later in the month, then I think he will be the one that should get the starting job by this time of the second phase. However, right now, with how productive Donovan has been and helping a Cardinals team that is performing well above expectations, I think he's the one that gets my vote.
Yeah, it's just tough, man, because like Cattell, we know what he is, and like again, as we said, 11 home runs in 35 games is very impressive. And you'd imagine that he's going to continue to play well. So I think by the time we get to the All-Star game, he could very well be him clearly. But Brendan Donovan, as you said, the Cardinals are quietly, I mean, I don't know quietly, but they're having a very good season, and not a lot of people pick them to do anything. I mean, you'd pick them to be closer to the lower in the standings than where they're at, and Donovan a big reason for that. So I think on that for right now, I'll say Donovan, but I would be like not surprised at all if by June 30th we're talking about Marte like it's not even close.
If before we make this vote official, could I play devil's advocate here for Ketel Marte? This is what he's done with missing time. Imagine what he could do, what he will do, and what he could have done if he didn't miss that time. And what
That's
he
interesting.
will
I mean, it's
do.
kind of the insinuation because I mean, we got to see. We have a whole month of voting. So if he continues on the pace that he's on, it's very likely to be his spot. But in the meantime, Brandon Donovan has been able to stay consistent for double the amount of plate appearances that Marte had.
Is there any factor into the fact that the Diamondbacks are not performing their best right now, and their players maybe aren't going to get the love that they
No,
might?
No.
their offense is still one of the best in the National
Yeah.
League. So that to me that doesn't matter.
The opposite of Pittsburgh's
it's
problem.
the
right
pitching
now.
that's the pitching that
Yeah.
is what's holding them back. If we were voting on pitchers, then if there was anyone, if like Corbin Burns could probably get overlooked just because of how bad the team is.
Yeah.
Well, then he's hurt. But
I was saying, did we ever get an update on him? I don't remember reading what ended up.
It
Elbow
was-
is the problem. Nothing crazy yet, which means
they've
eventually
said
it's gonna
elbow
get crazy.
soreness.
So it's not Tommy John or okay.
Not
They don't
yet.
know yet.
Not yet.
This has been going on for like 2 weeks now. What the hell?
Yeah,
No,
they don't
it's
know
been
yet.
going on for like 3 days.
Yeah, it
Feels
hasn't
like
been that
2
long.
weeks.
It's been a long week.
Well, he had something earlier that was not long.
That's what I'm
He had a
referring
mini
to.
Stint. That I don't remember what that was. I want to say that was shoulder, but I don't remember.
I think that was his back.
His whole arm is falling off. His
You know, his upper body is just shit because he's a dad now, and he cannot handle
Hey,
being a parent
dad of
and playing in
twins.
Hey,
Arizona.
Hey,
A dad
Wheels
of
is on
twins.
is on paternity leave. Stop. Don't say that. We don't believe in that.
Well,
Wheels better come back.
earlier he said he's gonna come back and shut up the Pirates on Sunday because Dad's strength. Also because of the Pirates.
That's what
By
Harper
the
way-
does.
by the
Harper
way-
comes back
Listen,
and
by the
Harper
way-
hits home runs.
Harper came back after his kids were born and hit 3 home runs.
Yeah, and
Enjoy
that's
it,
why
by the
that's
way.
the dad strength.
I meant to say to Tyler earlier, enjoy the free W you're about to get because you're getting
That's
a bullpen
what I
game.
kept telling him before the episode for tomorrow.
We already talked about this beforehand.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. Enjoy your free win.
Let's cast our votes. Who are we voting for in the American League? Is it Torres?
Wants to flip a coin. I'll give John Holiday in the American League if we choose
All right.
Jonathan for the National League.
All right, I'll take that. Take that.
Fine, I'll do it. Although
I don't have that much-
I guess nobody cares
Oh,
about
whoops.
Jose Altuve.
No.
I mean, I can't even see him. So like,
All right, looking at the AL third base position.
If Bregman wasn't hurt, this would be a
Yeah.
competition.
Exactly what I was about to say. And Jesus, man, Jose Ramirez just keeps on doing it every year.
He
You get to
is
trade him.
incredibly consistent.
He is the epitome of consistency. Really, is what it is. And anytime that team goes, which for a while they have been, it's mostly off of him. No love for Royce Lewis batting 139.
You're the
Anyway,
guy
to the National
so
League.
do you have anyone to give?
I
There
hope
he is.
turns it around. I hope he turns
How's
it
that
around,
basement
man.
there, bud?
I
God
really
damn.
do, but
You know you're playing bad when there's a White Sox in front of you.
that is
The
true.
White Sox in front of you who doesn't even have a home run on record yet.
And is also hitting under 200.
I mean, outside of Ramirez, anybody we're advocating for? I mean, Caminero has 14 homers.
That's
which is
why.
pretty good.
That's what I was saying. I was going to say Junior Caminero, but Jose Ramirez. June is going to be he's just going to light it up like he always does. So this is going to be his.
Yeah, I think Caminero could.
He's got a shot as a utility, but he also could be someone that, if like let's say Goldschmidt gets first and Aranda ends up as a backup position, he's the type of player that could be on the bubble where he might not make the initial roster just because everyone's got to
Spot,
get
yeah.
a representative. But considering nowadays the All-Star game means nothing because half of the players that get picked seem to get hurt or opt out, they'll make the team eventually.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Actually, that's pretty spot on. But yeah, for right now, as you said, I think Bregman, it's a conversation if he's not injured, but it's Ramirez in the AL. In the NL,
I want
not
John
as much
to give me the
clarity.
argument. I want John to give me the argument why it's not Machado.
Why it's not Machado? I picked Machado. I can't give you an argument. There is no argument.
I thought you would choose against him out of spite.
Unfortunately, it is Manny Machado and his 317 average, 8 home runs, 31 RBIs, and 880 OPS. Like that's
even though it's not that many home runs for someone like him.
I mean, it's really not, and that's the thing, but that average, it just tells me he's getting on base and he's delivering in the clutch. He might not be hitting bombs, but he's still like being productive and being a leader on this as I've called him in the past, selfish team. So
he does lead the National League he leads National League third baseman in errors with 11.
That one is shocking, but it's still Manny Machado. He has the star power, and I don't think the Padres have a representative on my ballot. I don't know who else they would send.
There's some outfield options.
there are outfield options, but I feel like there are better outfielders as far as getting a vote. But yeah.
What about Suarez? 16 homers.
Okay, hold on. Before we go to
that 232 average is what hurts him.
But before we go into Suarez real quick, I have a question. Why the hell does his headshot look like Mike Piazza from Backyard Baseball? Like, look at the smile, dog. Like, what are we doing?
If Piazza had the goatee, it would be spot on. Like the chin scrub.
It's like, good God. Sorry. Just wanted to, before we got too deep into like what actually mattered, I had to bring that up.
So Suarez hit 4 home runs in one game, so inflates it a little bit, but 16 homers, man. Like, I know the average is 232, and it is probably Machado's. I mean, it most definitely is Machado, but maybe he gets some love if he gets that average up. I don't know.
Let me tell you why I don't think that matters. A couple years ago, Pedro Severino blasted 3 home runs against the Rangers. That man did not deserve anywhere near an all-star ballot. Multi-home run games like that are fantastic, but that's just one game. That's not all-star level consistency for the first half.
How many fans are going to remember that he did that though?
No, I'm not saying for the 4 home run game. I'm saying his number 16 home runs is kind of inflated when you hit 4 in one game, but you also hit 4, so you can't take it away. I'm just saying, like,
okay, so if he hit 1, he would just have 13.
I guess that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like, if he doesn't go berserk that one game, he's kind of average or like a little above average, and then like, all right, now like the 232 average sticks out a little bit more. But I guess like the he's got 5 home runs more than any other third baseman in the NL. That's why I'm like, yeah, maybe. But
here, Bobby,
he's in the 220s now.
Let's be honest here. Most people are either organizing their ballots by A to Z or by average. They're not even going to even look at him.
But OPS is important.
Yeah, OPS
is important, but
so we will do
the common man does not think
We're
so.
better than the common man.
I don't know. Home runs is right there too. That's not something
I
you
feel
easily
like
look
low
over even as a
averages and high
casual.
home runs. Low averages and high home runs are things that get you.
Here, let me show you
on the
exactly
team
how
as
the
a bench
common man will
job.
do it. All right, I'm gonna sort by. I'm a Diamondbacks fan. I'm gonna sort by average. Why isn't Suarez on here? Oh, there he is.
I
Look what
mean,
happens when you scroll down. Oh, you clicked them.
that's true.
Ow!
I wasn't talking about Diamondbacks fans. I was talking about the average fan. So
The average fan is a fan of one team. They're gonna look for their guy.
I
If
understand
we're
that.
being honest, it's gonna still. I mean, it'll probably be Machado because he's the one a lot of random people know.
Brother, I don't even think Bohm deserves it, and you know Phillies fans are still gonna vote for him anyway.
Yeah, he'll be a finalist. Just
I'm
because.
trying
Why?
to
Because he's
take it. I'm
774.
trying to eliminate ballot box stuffing. Okay, that's what I'm trying to take out of the
fan
equation.
voting. You can't.
I understand it's fan voting, but still, we're trying to be educated with these answers. The point is, his batting average does not impress me. And Manny Machado's does.
I think we need to have.
Not his holidays walk rate.
I think we need to have a full on
Intervention?
discussion. No, like we need to have a full episode of why batting average is the stupidest stat. Not the stupidest stat, but like why it's worthless.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm
nowadays
all
a
for this.
232 average is fine.
I prefer.
Okay,
I
hold on.
prefer
Without-
on base percentage.
Without really diving into the fucking haystack, what do you replace it with then? Like, if you were to teach somebody new at baseball, what do you teach them?
OPS and
percentage.
on base percentage.
Yeah, but you have to teach them kind of the basics. Because
No,
OPS is
they're not.
technically an advanced stat.
It's not
mean,
that. It's
explain
not that.
slugging.
No,
Explain slugging.
you're right. I'm saying it's an advanced stat, but it's not like incredibly difficult. Like OPS is a standard stat now. Like mostly. Like they have it on the
Yes,
friggin'
if
Hold
you,
on,
if you
hold on.
understand
You
baseball.
know what's easier? On base percentage. Does he get on base? Great. He's a good player.
That's what I'm
That's the
telling you,
sabermetric thing that's gotten more love since batting averages have started to drop off.
But even they don't even value OBP as much as they used to, because OPS is still a big deal
it's
because
starting
they
to
are
well,
looking for
because it's
slugging
starting
hitters.
to come back a bit. Batting averages, like when you had the huge shift into power initially, that became the very popular thing of if you're gonna dismiss batting average and you really want to value how well someone is, you look at slugging and on base. And so like that was the argument for why you put Schwarber at the top of the order, because he before this season would bat like 220 in a season, but he could get a 350 on base percentage, and therefore is he really as bad as what a 220 average tells you compared to a 350 average. But I think that while it is still very much all about power, because it's all about how many home runs can you hit and how fast can you throw, there's a little more, I feel like, creeping back into, all right, batting or on base is great, but you do need to, make contact to knock in runs. Like you're not going to have very often too many times where you come up with the bases loaded and you can look for a walk to knock in a run.
Yeah, so I guess my whole thing is like, okay, so like let's just keep on Suarez, right? Because he's a perfect case of this.
We're picking
has
on
a low
Suarez.
average. He has an OBP of 305, excuse me, 305, right? If you say, if you're teaching a new fan, like, okay, OBP is the new average, like that's the basic hitting stat or at the plate stat that you should understand. They're probably not going to think they're a high tier player. They're not going to, they're going to have to look at RBIs and their actual slugging and everything else, which is why, as you said, OPS is probably the right metric to look at for sure. But then you have to kind of explain what slugging even means, because it's a whole mathematical formula compared to average and OBP, which is just basic division.
This is a much bigger, more in-depth discussion for a later time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Also, I was going to say, not for nothing, if a new baseball fan comes up to me and says, hey, I want to get into the stats, I'm going to tell them, don't do it. It's not worth it. When there's a stat called WAR that exists and means something to some people.
And
unlike other sports, though, there is so much accessibility with stats for baseball.
There is.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And the thing is, they actually mean something to like.
Well, I mean, because it's an individual sport.
Yeah.
I'm ready for us to have that future episode about the new home run stat that's coming in next year. About the true home run stat or whatever it's called.
Oh,
Yankees players are shaking.
I want to be a part of the conversation, but I have to read more about it because I got to understand what.
My understanding in a very quick sense is that the stat refers to home runs that would have been out in more than half of the MLB
half the
stadiums
ball-
is a true
yeah.
home run. That's all it is. And so
stat.
it's a dumb stat. But
I hate this stat.
I think
What do
they're
they
doing
call
that.
it?
They're
Hold on.
doing
What are
that
they calling
just to fuck with the Yankees.
Hey, Yankees fans, fuck you and your wiffle ball ballpark.
I don't know why Boston isn't even thinking the same thing. What's their right field
Well,
home run line?
they just
Isn't it like
it was a Rafaela just hit a walk-off 305-foot home run
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
today or
Boston,
yesterday.
Boston has had that short porch too.
Yeah,
someone look this
hold
up
on,
about
no.
what the
It's
There-
two,
minimum
all right, so
launch angle for
down the
home run
line,
is.
I think directly down the line, the right field in Boston, I think is 290.
Wow.
I thought it was
Yeah,
less than that.
I think you're
I
right.
think
yeah.
it's 290.
That doesn't
It's
feel
short.
right.
But it's because
really
of how
short.
awkwardly hooked it is.
Yeah,
Like that never happened. So the fact that there was the 305-foot home run
I'm trying to
to
find
walk it
this
off
now
is
real
what's
quick- real
insanely
quick.
rare.
Baseball's
I'm
such an
trying to
interesting
find-
sport where you
It-
play on different,
Gotta say,
hey,
dimensions.
that is what makes it great.
yeah,
wow,
I agree.
302. 302. It was
Anyway,
Well,
definitely
let's
we-
be honest.
302
At
one
some
point.
point, there's a commissioner
not
that's going to
302.
make it that everyone has to be the exact same
Yeah.
dimensions. It's going to happen.
No,
They
Hey,
can look
that-
different
we're all gonna
that-
play in
elsewhere.
a
that can-
dome.
Yeah, that commissioner can rot in a sack. Okay, that is the beauty of baseball, is the beauty of a baseball ballpark that other sports just don't have and can't have.
That's
you-
where
Let's cast our vote. We will
I was
actually
gonna
have this
say we gotta get
conversation
back.
later. We will
Although I
absolutely
did
have
want to
this
say,
conversation
Will,
later.
did
I
you have
want a
anybody
2-hour
else?
episode.
Well, did you have anybody else you wanted to mention? I thought you.
No,
had
I
some.
picked Machado.
Oh, okay, you did. All right.
I just
yeah,
didn't think John did.
Machado's a pick. I just wanted to make sure. I thought he had said, "Oh, I got something to say." All right, shortstop in the AL. Interesting.
I want John's pick first.
Interesting. Yeah, I do want John's pick first. Who do you
Crazy.
have in the AL shortstop, John?
I went with Bo Bichette.
Uh,
All right.
I have to scroll down a
That's
bit.
that's a
no,
choice.
but all right, we can move on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, 35 RBIs and nothing to sneeze at. I'll give him that.
No, I mean he's not having a bad season, but there's definitely a couple better picks.
There's she.
I
All right,
that. Sorry, I'm just having a tough time with that one. All right, go ahead. Well,
Hold on.
I know who you pick.
Who else would you send from the Blue Jays, since we talked about
I
first
don't
baseman?
care
I
about
don't-
that.
Bet
we
Bichette might
voting for
make
the
it
Blue
as
Jays?
a bench job, but I'm not thinking about the goddamn roster. I'm just coming up with a freaking lineup.
Yeah, with the starting roster. Like, I understand, like, oh, maybe he gets in because of they need a guy, but also I'm worried with the starting, and there is like 5 guys that all have better stats than him in every category.
And I'm
Yeah.
looking at him. I have a
Jacob
feeling I
Wilson
know
has
who
a
you
39.5
picked, Tyler,
OBP.
because I had it between Wilson and Pena,
yeah.
but I gave it to Pena. The main
Really?
reason,
Okay.
yeah. So the main reason is partially because of what I think he's done for the Astros since being moved to the leadoff spot. Like Wilson's having an absolutely fantastic rookie season. He's going to make the team if he's not a starter, and he might make it as a starter purely because there are people that still don't want to vote for the Astros.
Me.
He's not having a great defensive season though, which is kind of the opposite of Pena, who's having a much better defensive season. So you have good defense versus bad there, and both are hitting well. But Pena has been doing hot recently. He's been consistent split wise. He had a good May. And since he's been batting leadoff, as a leadoff hitter, he is batting .353 with 6 home runs, 22 RBIs, and a .957 OPS for the Astros. Like, that is table setting at its best for a team that was fairly mid for April and now is leading the AL West.
So Wilson, I think the biggest thing with him, honestly, and like this isn't really a stat per se, but he is a really tough out. Like that's what makes him so good.
You're
He-
statistically right about that, by the way, because he's only struck out 6.4% of the time, and he has a 55% ground ball out.
Oh, I
rate.
got him as 15 strikeouts for that season going into yesterday.
I mean, he is just a big contact guy, and I think I'm pissed off because when we were talking about like AL Rookie of the Year in our predictions. I want to say I said him, and I thought about putting a bet down, and I know I always do that shit. And then I finally did that and
If
put a
you
bet on the
bet it,
Reds,
it
and then
wouldn't have
they.
worked out.
I
Just
know,
tell
because
yourself that.
I know, I should have. But he's having a great season. I would pick him. Now I do have a question, and
That's fine.
it's not for like us, like this isn't our pick, but do you think Bobby Witt has a chance just because of the name and his stats aren't
Yes.
bad, and you also would think he's gonna have a pretty
The
good
name.
season?
The name.
Like
Yeah, like you said,
honestly,
because of the
The
name.
name alone is what makes me
Ca-
think that
Casual fan. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Oh yeah, he was good last year, and I don't want to vote for an Astro.
like, but I'm even saying
I mean,
like,
yeah.
yeah, from a perspective also of just like if they start to drop off just a tad and he just goes up even a tad, like where the stats look a little bit closer, or maybe his home run total goes up, then I think a lot of people are going to be voting for him.
I
I
think if
wouldn't
his
vote for
average
him.
eclipses 300, then
Yeah.
people would
Oh, for
jump on him.
sure. Oh, for sure. Right now, he wouldn't be my pick, but again, like I forget who we were talking about earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if by June 30th, like he is like in the lead for that. Also, I wouldn't say he is a like a first choice or maybe even a second choice, but Zach Neto has been having a really good year. So shout out Zach Neto, 10 home runs for him, and he's been playing really well for the Angels. I've seen a lot
AP
of
Crawford
highlights
gave me a
of him.
jump scare, by the way.
With what? Just his
we get
face?
context.
Well, no, well, I mean, first of all, when he was a Philly, he was average at best when he was in
Mhm.
Philly. Not to mention he had was it? I was just looking at it, like a 202 or something average last year.
Yeah, he's had a lot of very mid offensive seasons, but I think 2 or 3 years ago he had like an offensive outburst. So
Yeah, like I said, I think Witt can pull it around, but yeah, and then in the NL, this is a pretty easy one, I would say.
Why?
I want to hear Will's reasoning as to why not.
Well,
Or-
I want to. All right, first, are you guys saying Lindor, and I'm the one that's going to say Turner?
I mean, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah,
Lindor.
it's Lindor. I mean, Turner has a case, so give him.
Well,
Here-
here you want to hear the funny thing that everyone in New York, if I say this, is going to hate me. Who do you think's having the better defensive season in like most categories?
Well, I'm gonna say Turner.
Yeah, that's right. Turner's
Yeah.
having a better defensive season. In a lot
the
of
way you set that up, like
than Lindor.
no,
I should have been like, no, it's Ellie De La Cruz. But anyway, no, I mean the big things that I
sticking out like a sore thumb.
I mean, the main thing that I think Turner is away from him from the naked eyes, he doesn't have the home runs.
Yeah.
Because he's got the better average. They are only about roughly 8 or so RBIs off one another, and that's easy if you hit 7 home runs and that catches it up there. OPS wise, they're similar, but Lindor has the slight edge. Lindor, the one thing that's big always for me is I always look at runners in scoring position. Lindor is absolute trash this season with runners in scoring position. He's batting 189 while Turner's batting 304. I can also make the argument that Turner's doing better as the season's gone on because he had a good May. But I mean, other than that, it's just really going to come down to, I think, what you see with the naked eye. And I can say that Turner didn't have the power to start the season, and he's been finding it more as it's gone on, and his numbers are excellent. Like, he'll make the roster most likely as a backup if he's not a starter. But I mean, that's really all I can say there, because the only strongest thing I can really say is runners in scoring position is the massive difference.
I don't want to do this since it's against my own guy here, but since I'm not voting, I feel like I have to say this since we kind of used this contextually before. 5 of the home runs that Trey has are in the past 2 weeks.
Which
He had one
maybe is a
against-
sign of
I mean,
him
from a
heating up.
trend, yeah, if the arguments about like how they're doing in May are more, or what they've done in the last couple weeks, are the type of thing that works best if I'm trying to make an argument for who I would pick based on how I think they're going to do in June. If our argument is based on how people are doing right now, what would I say? I would still pick Turner. I just don't have as much to really use as leverage, other than he's having a smidge of a better defensive season than Lindor, which really just means Lindor is having an off season.
Yeah,
and that Turner has a lot better numbers with runners in scoring position.
Turner finally found the consistency I've been looking for out of
Turner's
him.
also
I'm so
had a better
excited.
average there with batting leadoff, which is what Lindor's done for every game. And I think I
And-
saw Turner's batting like 320 out of the leadoff spot.
And as we all know, average is the only stat that matters with batting, as we decided earlier. so-
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy fact, by the way. Lindor hasn't made the All-Star game since 2019 when he was with the Guardians. And which means since he's been with the Mets, he's gotten MVP votes for 3 of the seasons there, including second last year, and he's never been an All-Star. That's kind of
Late
crazy.
bloomer.
Yeah, it's
Late
kind of
bloomer.
crazy. I don't know, like I seen that, I was like, holy shit, that's kind of wild. Especially last year, like he you know had somewhat of a case, I guess, to win MVP, although really not. So, yeah, I'd say Lindor for the NL, and then I guess Bobby can be. I'm not putting Bo Bichette up there, but you can be the tiebreaker between Pena and
Yeah, no, don't put Bo Bichette. That was a dumb decision.
you can be the tiebreaker between Pena and Wilson if you'd like.
I like Wilson right now, so I'm gonna go with him. I believe he
I have
deserves the
no
praise.
arguments with
I
that.
like that because he is son of Pirate legend Jack Wilson.
Jack Daddy Wilson.
You know
Jack
what?
Daddy Wilson.
I like the event stats with Wilson, and I also just, you know what? I want to give the A's something right now because, good lord,
Pitching help.
everything else. Well, not to-
Catching position in the AL, it's very
Give it to
obvious.
Babe Ruth.
Really?
Big dumper. Give it to Big Dumper. Cal Raleigh. 24 home runs right now. Clear
Leads
cut.
baseball, right? Single-handedly,
Yeah.
no ties.
Yeah, a clear
That's
cut.
insane. What's the
Um,
most home runs in a season by a catcher?
Give me a moment.
That's a.
Because
Can-
I'm curious. Because
Can you guess who it is?
I mean, if I so while Bobby looks it up, I mean, I'm trying to decide if it's ever been in the 50s is the thing.
Mm.
Because I think it's been in the upper 40s.
Yeah.
But,
Do you guys want hints?
well,
Did he play for the Mets?
No.
Oh, well, then my pick.
it's
was
not
out.
Piazza. No, it's not Piazza. But Piazza, I think, had like 42 home runs in the season. What's his name? Javi.
He's not. He's not even in the top 5.
Oh wow! Is there? Just tell me this much: did the catcher who leads hit 50 home runs or more?
No, close.
Okay, so I was right about it's under. Because what's his name? It's what I wanted to say was his name, Javi Lopez or something. Javi something.
That's number 3.
What
because
is
he
it?
had 40.
Lopez.
Lopez is number 3 on
All
the
right,
list.
so I got the name.
We
right
had
at least.
43 home runs.
Oh wow! So he didn't have as much as I even thought.
I can't even really think, to be honest.
Oh, I got the answer. I think I got the answer, and this is actually really recent. It's Salvador Perez.
Yeah, 2021.
He had
48 with the
48.
Royals.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Number
was-
2,
I
shout
forgot
out
about that.
Mr. Johnny Bench, 1970 Reds.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was thinking bench, and then I was gonna ask, like, has he played in this century?
He
Not just this
raked
century. He
in
played.
MLB The Show.
He
from
played
last year.
earlier
Holy
today.
fuck. Yeah.
Cal Raleigh.
That's crazy. That
Cal
48 home run
Raleigh
season.
is on pace to hit 68 home runs, by the way. So
Jesus Christ.
Keep going. I
What are
want
the
to take
odds-
it away.
What are the
I want
odds
to take
we
it
could
away
have
from the
three-
fucking
What are the odds we could have
Yankees.
3 players with 60 home runs?
that would be wild. And
I want to
catch
take
would
it
have
away
been-
from the fucking Yankees. Take it away. Take
I
that
mean-
American League lead away.
This is very clearly. I will have no other. Nothing else. It is Cal Raleigh. He is.
I just have to
the AL.
say this, based on what John said, it would be the funniest thing on planet Earth if Judge is like he leads the American League in average and RBIs. He hits 62 home runs and does not get the Triple Crown because someone hit more home runs than 62.
That would be
If
crazy.
he
That
were
would
to
be
hit-
amazing.
He probably also wouldn't get MVP if it was.
Yeah, he probably would. Oh, Cal Raleigh's doing amazing, but yeah, no, because of just Judge is having another planet like offensive season just in so many areas, while Raleigh is having an absolutely fantastic season power wise. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, catcher for the NL. I
I like Carson Kelly on this one.
So I guess it's
All right,
because
I have an argument against Kelly, but
oh, I see. So I was gonna say, why do I not see a certain name? But he's considered a DH. That's why. Um, Ivan Herrera for the Cardinals has been great, but he's not, I guess, catching for them. I guess he's
and he
DHing.
also has only got like 90 at bats.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been crazy for his time. You said Kelly. Who was your pick? Will.
Will Smith.
Yeah, it's hard to go against a guy that's batting
I mean, Kelly's
323.
here's the thing about Kelly. There's no denying his good offensive numbers. They are, when I say heavily skewed, I mean heavily skewed from an outstanding March and April. He had an abysmal pretty much May. Like, this dude started the season batting 360 with 7 home runs and 21 RBIs after April. So keep that in mind. Look at his stats right now. That's what he did in May, if you do the difference. He batted like 200 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. So Will Smith has been like 300 average, couple home runs a month. Very good, very consistent year round. I
was gonna say
go against him.
Yeah, he's been the staple of the of like catching in the NL or catching in general.
Right. I have a new argument. Sorry. The all-star representative is JT Real Muto's cup for saving his goddamn balls the other day. Because how is that man walking after what happened?
Well, he might not be. We haven't seen him.
I rewatched that a bunch, by the way, and I don't know how he's breathing, to be honest with you.
Put his cup in the Hall of Fame right now.
And his response when asked how he was doing was that I've dealt with worse.
Yeah.
Wow.
Herrera, yeah, he's mostly DH. I wonder if he'll get a spot on the roster because he's not going to be the starter for DH either because of somebody. But
he might fall short because Donovan's going to make the team almost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And from a catching standpoint, even with Kelly, unless Kelly has a horrendous month in June as well, he'll probably make the team regardless. And we talked earlier about who we think the one representative for the Rockies might be. So there's your 3 catchers.
Right, which is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if he keeps us up, but he's 1-dotting it for OPS right now, and to like not have him on the roster would kind of be insane. But I am also going to go Will Smith. So Will Smith gets a pick there. Cal Raleigh, Will Smith. Back from the slap. Now this is where things get interesting.
Well, hold on,
as it always
quick.
does.
I want to interrupt real quick. Just a quick break before we get into the outfield because it's going to take a bit.
Intermission.
Did you guys know that a new umpire record was apparently set yesterday?
Oh,
is it missed calls in a game?
No. So I'm taking this from umpire.
I don't care.
I haven't. No, because this is hilarious given who this involves. Is why this.
Is it Laz Diaz's missed call?
So yesterday, and I'm quoting the full tweet here from Umpire Auditor on Twitter. Yesterday, umpire Les Diaz rang up Jake Magnum on a pitch that missed outside by 6.83 inches. And with that call,
7.
Les Diaz has taken the crown from Angel Hernandez for the worst called strikeout in umpire auditor history. So
the Angel Hernandez strikeout was probably the Wyatt Langford strikeout from his last season because of how horrendous that strike 3 was.
It was 6 something. I forget what it was.
That's why I thought Bobby was going to say 7 inches for the Laz Diaz call. But
people argue, oh, well, could you make that call saying that it was 6 inches off? Yeah.
I guess I don't want to actually see what that looks like.
All we're going to say is I don't care what side of the table you're on with the ABS argument. When they present their case to the committee on whether it should be added or not, Diaz, you hurt any type of a case. Because I don't care what side of the table you're on. Just that alone destroys a lot of hope.
You know what? I think we should do an episode later down the line. Who frustrates you more, Laz Diaz or CB Buckner right now?
It's Laz.
Behind the plate, or
honestly, it might be Laz.
It's
all
Laz
together.
Laz is having a year. I gotta go.
Here's the thing about Laz that I think he adds more to than Buckner is Laz is a performer. So like Buckner sucks as an umpire, but he's very like stoic, like strong military build. It seems like when he carries himself around. Laz Diaz is a Karen.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Laz Diaz is a Karen. There's the short right there. There you go, Will.
By the way, time check, Bobby.
Don't care. Go on.
50 minutes. We're good.
Holy
Fine.
shit. Okay. Getting into the outfield, starting in the AL, Aaron Judge is going to get a spot. Pick him.
No. Hold on. Here's my
No.
argument against him.
No.
I
Don't
have-
waste
You
my
have
time.
no argument against
No,
them.
don't waste my time. So basically now we get to pick 2 spots for the outfield. Will, who are your 2 picks?
I didn't love a whole lot of them, but I went Stephen Kwan was one of them. Hitting well, good leadoff hitter, great defender. So I don't really have too much to say
Fucking hell.
other than that. This was where it was difficult because I had it between 4 different names. I never thought I'd actually be saying this, but I gave my pick to Byron Buxton.
Hello. Twins need a representative.
They need a representative. He's got a solid season right now. He doesn't get on base. He gets on base about as much as Jackson Holiday does. But one thing that Buxton is he is absolutely he's got a 409 average with runners in scoring position. Like Jesus Christ. I mean, the dude's clobbering lefties. He had a great month of May. He did miss a little bit, so he played in 45 games of whatever 60 something games the teams played. But I mean, I still think that compared to my other finalists, which were Willie Abreu, Riley Green, and Trent Grisham, he was the one that had stood out slightly for me in the end.
John, what about you?
I honestly, I went down the line as Will did. When it comes to Kwan and Judge, the only difference.
What? He's all the way the fuck down here.
What line are you looking at? Even if you go from height, you're going from tallest to shortest. Unless you want the backwards leg.
And then the next one that I went with, just simply because I want it to happen, I went with Javi Baez.
I went with him. Talk about this.
I went with him. I
get rid of my pick. I want Javi Baez as the center field representative.
This man has turned it around for this season, and he is not a joke right now. The Javi Baez revenge tour. I'm fully believing in it. I
struggled with this as well outside of Judge. I think that so I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, just in terms of like other names that could be in there. So hold your pants before you jump all over me. But Julio is not having a great year, but it's not been bad, and his defensive numbers have been good. So like he could be a possibility. And if you're talking about fan vote, I know we're doing our predictions, but if you're talking about fan vote, I think he has a good chance of getting in. Based on that, I also think Taylor Ward hitting 17 home runs. I know he's batting 214, and it looks really, really ugly. But he has 17 home runs. I think he could be a play. So I think if I'm actually giving you picks, I would say it's Judge, Ward, and Kwan. Would be my picks, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see Ward I could see out, but I think Kwan and Judge are definitely getting in. But I could see, a Ward, I could see a Julio for out there as well. Maybe Riley Green. I mean, he's batting 282 with 13 home runs, so pretty good there as well.
Damn it.
Yeah, I gotta. Trent Grisham's having a good year
this season.
I know. It's actually pretty sad, to be honest. I'm not happy with myself.
Wait a minute, Ty. You know who you want.
Neglectful parent.
You know who you want.
Who do I want?
You want Javi Baez.
I do want Javi Baez.
Tigers
I'm fighting for my time.
Sole representative.
Any chance we see 2 Yankees in the outfield with Trent Grisham making it?
Yes, because
it's a very good possibility. Yeah.
Do I think it'll happen? No, unless crazy things happen in June. I think there's a very good chance Grisham is a finalist after the first round.
Yeah.
And just because of that alone, yeah, there's a shot.
All right, so we have Judge and Quan, and then we just got to decide on our third.
Javi Baez.
Fuck it, do Javi Baez. I don't
Baez.
care.
No, do
Baez.
Baez.
Baez is
We're
our
a
pick.
podcast.
Sure.
We can do what we want. Give
Yeah,
us
He's
a
gonna
Baez.
find him.
Yeah, I got
Nope, you had him.
Is there a search
go.
bar on here?
Gotta go to A to Z just to find the fucker.
Yeah, I was
Um,
about to say.
all right, looking
Oh, yeah,
at
there's two in the National League. I think are shoe-ins in the outfield.
yeah, I was gonna say you were talking about earlier. Like
I
not
said
sure.
one. The answer is two.
NL, I think, is way more clear cut than the AL is.
Well, there's two that I think are shoe-ins, and then there's a couple that I think are close. Well, two, maybe three.
I agree. Acuna is not a part of this conversation.
Not yet. He's going to get
Can't
some
be.
popular votes, but I mean, he is tearing it up since he's returned into his 10
I'm
games.
just so annoyed he's up here. I know it's because of OPS ranking. It's because he's played less games, but holy fuck.
so
Yeah.
Will, who are your two shoe-ins then?
Pete Crow Armstrong and James Wood.
Okay. Interesting.
And then why interesting?
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I can't believe the other
RBIs
guy.
by themselves kind of justify.
I can't believe the other guy isn't a shoe-in that I'm looking at right here.
All right,
Corbin
then,
Carroll.
so-
Come on now.
well, just based on OPS stuff alone, Tucker's better.
I was about to say that's who I went with.
So, I mean, here's the thing about Carroll. He had a good power month in May. His average slipped off a ton. So he batted, he's batted, was it 259, 18 home runs? He batted 289 in March and April with a 980 OPS. So he has dropped off even with the home run still in there. And to be honest, even though this is not a factor into the pick, Corbin Carroll should not be a 40 home run guy. He should be a 20 home run, 300 average, 400 on base, stealing 70 bases. That's the player you really need. Even though the Diamondbacks always seem to have one of the best offenses, so what do I know? Now Tucker, he's also someone that slipped since the beginning of the month, but he's got since the beginning of the month, since the beginning of the season, with his hot start. But one thing I've liked about Tucker is he's actually batting 306 versus lefties, so he's hitting both sides well. He's got a slightly better average of runners in scoring position than Corbin Carroll, and his OPS is better. The other person I had it between was Elliot Ramos, who was also my sleeper pick last year, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was.
We did this because he had only been up for like a month.
Yep.
But he is having a torrid start with the team. And I mean, he's having another really good season, 290, or what is it? 289, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs. All that being said, in the end, I did pick Corbin Carroll, but it wasn't a shoo-in.
Thank you for that.
You led me down a road.
Jesus.
ready for
Oh, he had the
Christ.
mouse. He
No,
had the
for
mouse
half-
ready, damn it.
For half a second, I looked at Austin Hayes' stats. Did
I
look at
know.
his.
I was just looking at his stats because I think it's hilarious. But other than that, no, he had no consideration. I think Tucker does have a case, definitely, but I just
Mhm.
think Carroll clears him right now.
I think the fact that Corbin Carroll is a 5-tool player is what gives
Yeah.
him any type of like slight
He's a
edge just
five-tools
when
guy.
people think about it. I mean, the only thing Corbin Carroll doesn't have is a throwing arm, but
Yeah. Tatis is, I guess, around there. I mean, he's got 13 homers.
he
Um,
slipped.
He has slipped. Also, seeing a video of him, he bat flipped today on a catch that was made at the wall. So people were roasting him.
God, if I was the manager, I'm pulling his ass at that moment, and then I'm benching him the next game. I don't give a hoot. Like, you can do what you want to celebrate, but if you do that on an out, like, bye your priorities.
Yeah. God, I'd love to say O'Neal Cruz. He's actually had a nice season, but not nice enough to be an all-star.
What are the odds you think Cruz gets invited to the home run derby?
So that's a good question because I think from an entertainment value, that you can't be any better.
I want to
hits
see
the
him hit one
ball.
over the chop house.
Yeah, dude, like actually I really didn't think about that. I think he might. I mean, he's got 12 homers on the year. Obviously, he has immense power. I'll tell you this, if he was playing in any market other than Pittsburgh, he probably would definitely be there.
Mhm.
But I could see it. I really could.
Yeah. I'm gonna cruise derby piss missile at
I would
125 miles an hour.
I know. I'm actually hyped for that. Now I need that to happen.
It
yeah.
could. There's a lot of. I mean, that you always, if you look at who gets picked for the home run derbies nowadays, none of the big names want to do it out of fears of slipping. So you're gonna go with someone that has some power, but isn't really the top tier offense. I mean, heck, last year Alec Boehm made it. I love Boehm, but Boehm's not a home run hitter.
No.
So,
yeah. I would say so. We did Wood, Carroll, and Armstrong. I would say Tucker is a close fourth, and don't sleep on Acuna. He
Tucker
could
would be
definitely
the first
be
one
in.
out.
I am passed out with so much melatonin on Acuna. It's like not even funny.
How many gummies did you take?
It's Tucker, Earl, and
What?
Okay.
How much did you drink when you left?
That's
John's
really
having
helpful.
John's having some connection issues, unfortunately.
Turn your VPN off.
But let's move on to the DH.
Sorry, repeat the votes for me. I was
Carroll,
trying to help John with his issue.
Carroll, PCA, Beaker
And-
Armstrong, and
I know the lingo.
and James Wood.
What?
Yeah, not Woods, by the
James
way.
Woods.
No.
Will
There's
says
a
that
big
a lot. Will says that a
James
lot.
Woods.
And I don't say anything, but James Woods, he says
I
a
say
lot.
Wood.
Do you? I don't know.
Do
I've
you?
been saying Wood. I've been saying James Wood.
All right, this is going to be a dangerous game because of John's connection issues, but I kind of want to throw him AL designated hitter because I do think there is a clear-cut favorite there.
Well, who else is there going to be?
Rafael Devers.
Devers.
Oh
Gee, I
my
wonder who the
God.
54 RBIs. What do you mean?
He leads the American.
Yeah.
He leads baseball, actually.
Yeah, I was
Remember
gonna
when he
say, I think
started
he's
the
up there.
season like, for whatever? That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been absolutely on fire since then.
I mean,
I understand that, but when you go to 930 OPS, a 326 average with 9 home runs and 23 RBIs, like this guy, Ryan O'Hearn, is having a career year. He deserves to be an all-star.
yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
He's my pick.
And he will be on the All-Star team.
Yeah, I think Orioles fans have pretty good pull. I think he'll get in. Honestly, from that case as well, Devers has a shot, but for me, it's clearly Ryan O'Hearn. Really the only guy that has done. Although the Orioles are starting to play good baseball now, but for a while he was the only guy doing literally anything. So yeah, O'Hearn there, and then on the NL side,
Really? We need to talk about it?
I mean, is there a case for Schwarber like over Ohtani?
But is there a case over Ohtani? Probably not.
No.
I mean, I can't say really anything.
Schwarber made it interesting, but it's still.
Schwarber made it interesting, and he's going to be a finalist. But in the end, Shohei is the one that's going to walk away with it. And also because he's on pace to have, 170 runs scored, which is, like, absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, to your point exactly, like Schwarber obviously has a great case, but not better than Ohtani. And then you see
Do you
Herrera
think,
there, who I was talking about before.
Mhm.
Do you think Schwarber, if he was still batting the leadoff like he was previous seasons, he would have gotten close, like at least a little bit closer to Ohtani's
Well, I
numbers?
can tell you that I don't think Schwarber would have the home runs he has now if he was batting leadoff.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Because I think that there is definitely a slightly different mindset, especially for someone like him who is known for drawing a lot of walks, and he's
Mhm.
the leadoff hitter. That he's gonna, at least when he starts the game or whatever, especially, or starts an inning, then he's gonna be thinking more about getting on base for the guys behind him. But now that he's in the cleanup spot, his mindset is a little bit more make
Hit the ball.
contact, knock runs in. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I was, and I still think moving him to 4 was the right move, but I
Mhm.
was defending the leadoff with him for so long. It's just funny to kind of see him, and I was curious. Obviously, he's having a great season so far. I'm not knocking him by any stretch. I'm just curious if he would have just saw a few more balls, if it would have mattered in this case. But regardless, yeah, he'll be a finalist. It's still Ohtani.
Yeah, they're again, no question about that. As much as we, not that Otani's great guy. Wouldn't even want to say otherwise, but
Really good guy to go to the casino with. Oh wait, my fault.
Yeah. Hey guys,
Dude.
I bet you Shohei gets designated hitter for the NL.
Wow, that's
Wow.
Thanks,
that's
Internet
that's
Explorer.
bold. I guess
It's
I guess-
Edge now.
quickly before we wrap up, do you guys have picks for the starting, like your predictions for the starting pitchers at this point in time?
No.
Yes, you do.
American League, I feel pretty confident it's going to be Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
The
Come
National
on,
League.
come on,
I'm
make my day. Make my day.
But he got it last year. I mean, let's see. Who's the manager? It's going to be Dave Roberts.
Dave Roberts. He
Which
wants
means
him to
it's
come to
Yamamoto.
LA.
Yamamoto's.
I was about to say he's got to scout
Gonna
his
go
guy out.
Yamamoto then.
He's got to butter him up so he can get him to LA. So he's gonna pick
You're not
Scenes.
completely wrong with that mindset, but yeah, I'll say Yamamoto with him picking his own guy.
Maybe. I think that's possible. Who do I think it should be? I think it should be Paul Skeens and Scooble, but we'll see if that actually comes to fruition.
Is there a knock on Skeens at all in terms
No.
of?
You can't.
Well, hold on. I'm
No.
not arguing. I'm not arguing.
I know. What I was gonna say is, that'll be also in the discussion about why average is a stupid stat. Wins for pitchers and losses ridiculously stupid now. Ridiculous. Remember back in the
It's
day,
been
like
stupid for a while.
dude. But I'm telling you, remember back in the day, like when we were. I feel like it was when we were kids. They'd be like, "Oh man, he was a 20-win pitcher. Look at this guy."
Mhm.
Blah blah. This and that. It don't mean shit. Like
Yeah.
it literally doesn't. And
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're at the point where the offense means more about a win-loss versus what the actual pitcher does. I mean, I think Skeens
Well,
is
it's
literally
also
the proof
because
of that
pitchers
now.
don't last as long. So
No,
Yeah,
not
like-
nearly as strong.
if when you have a pitcher that pitches 6, 7, or 8 innings, then yeah, they're most likely going to get to the decision.
I always find it
Um,
funny because one of the criteria is the lead that a team has on the other team, which has nothing to do with the pitcher except for how little runs the offense.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
I always found that funny.
It's a team stat, but it's not apparently for pitchers. Like it's dumb. And if there was, I don't think there's a better case in sports for like, hey, this stat sucks. Let's get a case for it. Like this is the one. You can't say, look at any stat and be like, wow, like I don't know. Here's evidence to back it up. This backs it up. What the Pirates are doing to Paul Skeens is criminal, and this is why pitching wins is stupid. But yeah,
I know we've hit a whole like new plane of this stat and how much Paul Skeens is getting fucked over with. It's appearing on my TikTok now. It's like Paul Skeens is dealing with the worst thing in MLB history. Currently pitching at under 2 ERA, but has however many losses. Like it's you're getting those TikToks in my feed now of like.
And this
Skeens is getting fucked
conversation
over.
is going to come up again because he's going to be in discussion for Cy Young, which is going to bring up this discussion again.
Do you think baseball somewhere down the line, and I mean this more in a like not so far future, would change the rule for who gets a win? So instead of claiming it from like what it currently is for starters, and if it's not a starter, it's pretty much the reliever that was pitching when the team got the lead, and they change it to something where technically there's a rule with relief pitchers that the win goes to the pitcher that was quote unquote most deserving, which you rarely see actually used as the rule, but it did happen once this year because I think it was in that Cubs Diamondbacks game. Ryan Presley it's because Ryan Presley was supposed to get a save from like the 14-12 game, but then the winning pitcher of record typically, because of when the team got the lead, was going to be like Porter Hodge, who gave up like 5 runs in a third of an inning. So the rule keeper didn't give it to him, they gave it to Presley. And so Presley didn't get the save, but he got the win. So my point is just simply, do you think they would consider changing the rule to instead just saying we're giving the win to the most deserving pitcher that game on the team? So this way they can give a win to a pitcher that maybe wasn't eligible for a win when they left the game.
I mean, maybe, but that still doesn't help the fact. Like that doesn't help the loss fact, though. Like
the loss fact probably wouldn't change at all, just because if you were taken out when your team was losing, then you suck, you're responsible. But
yeah,
it's supposed to be the combat the fact that there aren't any wins nowadays, if they wanted to try to put wins back into starting pitchers' hands, then it comes back to, all right, let's say Paul Skeens pitches 8 innings, gives up 1 run, the Pirates score 0, he gets taken out, the Pirates score a run in the 9th, it goes extra innings, and then the winner ends up being someone out of the bullpen in like the 10th inning, whereas instead they could say the winner is Paul Skeens because he was the best, most deserving pitcher that day out of 2 pitch for the team.
Yeah, I guess so.
I just hate how arbitrary it
Yeah.
kind of is, though, because it's like the starting pitcher
Look
has
how
to
baseball
have 5
scores
innings.
errors. Everything is arbitrary.
Even if it, I had to go find it because I had to make sure I was reading it right. So it's 5 innings for a starting pitcher, and if it isn't, if they don't make 5 innings, but the team gets the lead, then it's the most effective relief pitcher, which is just kind of up to,
which is what I said,
whatever.
Which is why 99% of the time it goes to whoever was pitching out of the bullpen when the team gets the lead. You get really rare instances, like I said, where they actually pick someone else.
Yeah.
It's strange.
I guess then my point would be maybe I have more of a problem with the loss category than I do the win category.
But the losses make sense. I mean, if you
I just love in a sport full of numbers, a sport full of numbers, we still have arbitrary. Like, how the hell is that even possible to have that happen? Like,
I hate
this
that
sport
nowadays
is obsessed with numbers.
And it errors like who knows what because of how many plays are called hits nowadays that are not hits.
Speaking of which, real quick, Will, how many errors do you think actually happened in that Phil's game today? Did you watch that?
No, I quit when I still had my sanity. But my guess is they probably had about.
I swear to God,
my guess is they probably should have had about 5 or 6 and were credited with 2.
I'm not kidding. Today I was watching Phil's. I was actually practicing. I was really bored, so I was practicing like paper scoring, and I had like 3 errors. I had 3 errors, and none of them were errors. There was 0 errors.
Yeah,
Turner let Wayne literally drop out of his glove on a routine fly. Like, I don't know. And that was considered a hit because apparently he wasn't directly under it, I guess, was the ruling, was that he wasn't directly under it. Therefore, it could have been a single. To me, for a guy like Trey Turner, should have been 98%. We got the 2% today. Plus, they're playing in Toronto. No wind, no weather elements. It is a routine fly ball. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, they're in a goddamn dome.
You sitting on your couch at 3:00 on a Thursday doing stats in a page.
Worse.
Oh God,
it's worse. I was in I was in my wife's library.
He was in a library.
I was in a library.
God, you're one of them.
My wife's library. Have to just go there because they were doing an event, and I was just kind of standing by, and I was using one of the computers, watching the game on the computer, and I printed out using the library's ink, the scorecard, and was doing the
Bobby,
scorecard.
You are making me a very happy man right now.
Yeah, so
dude, that is a billion times better than I could have ever expected. That's unbelievable.
What did you do when you went to the library today? I kept score of a baseball game.
I have it right here. I can pull it out.
Oh my God, that's
you should
really
submit
funny.
it to MLB and say this is the actual box score.
It's actually you know, the funny thing is the reason why I'm doing is kind of pathetic is because I'm actually going to a game next Monday for the Phils, and I figured I'm like, well, I haven't scored in a while. And I kind of want to.
Dude, it's fun.
I haven't gotten to program this year, so I haven't gotten to program yet this year, so I wanted to get one. And I'm like, I got to practice. So I did it twice today, actually. At work, I had some downtime. I started with the World Series game 1 from last year. I was like getting like 3 innings through just because I was bored. And then I did the full game for the Phillies today when I was in the library. So
main question
I had your job.
Wrap
what
it
the
up
hell?
Is, are you trying to score it based on just purely what you think? Or are you actually trying to see what they say the official scoring is?
So I'm doing my best to keep my eyes on my. So there's a great website, Live Scorecards, that updates live with like the actual, with like a filled out digitally cool, like as the game's going on. So today what I was doing was I had that up in a background tab just to double check myself, like after an inning. But I was trying my best to stick to my own paper as much as possible, especially like I said, the errors were bugging the shit out of me because I had like 2 and I looked on every box score. I'm like, I think this is wrong. Check ESPN. Nope. MLB was blocked for some reason in this library. So I went to I forget where I went there. I think I just went on ESPN's box score. It's like, nope, it was all hits. I'm like, what?
Then you realize.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I try to stick to my own paper as much as possible, but then I do like, if I score it at a game I'm at, instead of like watching, like if I'm at a game, I don't really check. I usually just go home and check. So I'll go home and see where
You
I
should
missed
just
it.
do what you think. Don't listen to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't change it. I just look and see if I missed something. Usually it's like, oh, the win loss was wrong. Like I remember I had like last year I went to the game where Alvarado came out and I thought he got the win. He didn't. I don't know why. I can't remember which game it was.
Probably
but it
because
was
of the
like, it was
rule you
something
just
like
said
that.
about deserving.
It was. It exactly was. So stuff like that I just check on because it's like, okay, it's really arbitrary. I really don't know what it could be. This is what I think it is. But anyway, sorry.
Oh, well
Tangent.
then. You got a lot of content today. You got a little bit of all-star voting, you got a little bit of scorekeeping.
Sabermetrics.
Sabermetrics.
Read a book, children.
Regardless, you got baseball one way or another. If you enjoyed our content, you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at BL_breakdowns, big league breakdowns
Hot
everywhere
place right now.
else. It is. It's burning.
Yeah, it's burning.
Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel for more baseball, and we will see you next time.
Wear your seatbelts. Support your libraries and museums.